A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Things have been a little bleak on the Star Wars gaming front recently. We're in the middle of a Destiny 2 Star Wars inspired expansion that I am enjoying, but there's been very little to be excited about around it. We've got next year's Zero Company, a third Jedi game on the way, and KOTOR and Eclipse that have been announced, but their status is really unknown. Well, today I have nothing but good news for a change, and boy, do we need it. Out of nowhere, we have just been showered in Star Wars gaming news overnight, and we're going to dive into it all today. I'm going to cover it all, and there's a lot to get stuck into. So we're going to dive straight in, and of course, if you love Star Wars games, you probably want to hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to keep you up to date on it all. Let's start with yesterday's fantastic scoop from Stephen Totillo at GameFile. Everything is linked in the description too, by the way, if you want to do reading up on it. One thing that has been in limbo since its announcement is the status of the Knights of the Old Republic remake that was announced back in 2021 at a PlayStation showcase. Flash forward 4 years and here we are talking about it now. Now, if you don't remember, this game was in production at Aspyr. It was in collaboration with Sony. It was going to be a console exclusive, and basically the project just was not going as planned. It was taken off of Aspyr, and now it's found a new home at Saber Interactive. But this story goes beyond just the KOTOR remake, because it turns out not just is there plans for a Knights of the Old Republic remake, there's also plans for a Knights of the Old Republic 2 remake, including the cut restored content DLC that never made it into the Nintendo Switch version. This article is an absolutely fascinating read by Stephen Totillo. It is incredible work that has dove into the story that basically the restored content DLC that was meant to make its way to Switch 2 ended up in a lawsuit between Aspyr and the players who basically wanted it in the game. And as a result, after this court settling, and it's all been settled now from what it looks like, basically it has led to this unveiling that we now know that not just was there plans for a KOTOR remake, there was plans for a Knights of the Old Republic 2 remake too. I really advise that you read the article about the cut content, because I'm kind of going to skim over it just to get to the KOTOR 2 stuff, but there's some really fascinating stuff in here that I genuinely advise reading. So, talking about the KOTOR 2 remake comes some very important quotes from Lucasfilm Games Vice President Douglas Riley. And I mean, it all just speaks for itself. Quote, "Juliet was the code name for a project where we were going to do a full remake of KOTOR 2 with modern art, modern gameplay, keep the story and the characters and the general content of KOTOR 2, but remake it for modern hardware and modern machines with updated graphics and all those kind of things," end quote. For those that don't know and you want to talk about code names, the Knights of the Old Republic remake was actually codenamed Romeo. So you got KOTOR 1, which is Romeo, KOTOR 2, Juliet. Cool little code names going on there. So that's basically a lot of digging into that, which means that KOTOR 2 was in the plans for a full remake. It doesn't stop there though. As of March 2025, Juliet says that KOTOR 2 was technically on the roadmap still. And he says, quote, "We're starting with the remake of KOTOR 1. Aspyr isn't working on those games," end quote. Instead, the KOTOR remake is said to be now in the hands of the team behind the Hellraiser revival at Madhead Games. Now, if you've been around for a minute, you will know that I have a lot of admiration for the way Saber Interactive go about making their video games. And after playing Warhammer Space Marine 2, seeing the collaboration there, the respect for the lore and identity of that franchise, I'm very excited about the potential of how KOTOR is going to be treated, because this, for me, is a very, very pristine and prestige video game that needs to be treated right. So the good news is that, yes, KOTOR is safe. Now, I'm here to get excited about KOTOR 2, because I think that's still an incredible game, even without the cut content, which obviously helped. It was a rush game in the end, and maybe a remake will allow it to see its full potential. But Knights of the Old Republic, man. I mean, I've been asking for variety in Star Wars games, not just in terms of gaming genres, but across the timeline. Stop making everything between 3 and 4, and 4 and 5, and the Clone Wars. Go back to the Old Republic. Go to the High Republic. Give me different galaxies to explore and different events going on. And KOTOR is just such an incredible story with amazing characters, and it's like a dream to have the idea of KOTOR with modern gameplay and graphics. Like, that is the way I look at it. Now, we can't jump the boat here because we haven't even got our hands or even seen what the gameplay is looking like for the KOTOR remake before we even get excited about KOTOR 2. We do have to have like an ounce of hesitance to be like, okay, it might not live up to expectations, but I can't help but be excited about this. The idea that there is a willingness from Disney to get KOTOR and KOTOR 2 out there is exciting for me, because we are lacking great Star Wars RPGs right now. The closest thing for me is playing the Star Wars Genesis conversion mod, which is incredible in its own right, but I like a proper tailored Star Wars game that's not built on the foundations of other video games. Not to take away from the modders or anything. But yes, KOTOR is very, very exciting. The fact that March of this year, I mean, yes, we are now 9 months removed from it, but it's still exciting. For me, I'm pretty confident that KOTOR will see the light of day one way or another. Should we be excited for KOTOR 2? Look, it all comes down to the reputation of Saber Interactive for me. I know that they're in collaboration with those at Madhead Games. I'm going to be optimistic about this one. I'm going to think to myself, yes, this might work, this can happen, but I'm very, very, very keen to see it. But the Old Republic news, it doesn't stop there. And look, Twitter is known for misinformation, but a fairly reliable source that has got some scoops right in the past, Caracassis, I believe is how you say it, has said that a big Star Wars game announcement is coming very soon. And just to be clear, this announcement has nothing to do with Star Wars Aero Company or Eclipse. They then followed up with a quote tweet that says, the title of this game ends with the Old Republic. Now, for those that don't know, the Game Awards is this Thursday, 2 days from the time of recording here. So, could we see the KOTOR remake at the Game Awards? I actually want to throw in another piece of information here. See, the Game Awards is full of big announcements, and we know that, quote, a truly special new Total War game will be revealed at the Game Awards. Quote, it's a project long in the making that will mark a revolutionary new chapter for the Total War franchise, end quote. Now, this could be a variety of things, except last year there was big rumors that a Total War Star Wars game is reportedly in development at Creative Assembly. This came from DualShockers as of October 2023. Total War Star Wars was one of 3 new Total War games in development at the Sega-owned studio. So in Dreamland here, I get 2 Star Wars games announcements at the Game Awards. I get a Total War Star Wars game that it could be absolutely in any era or the eras, I don't know. Or could it be that the Total War game is Total War Star Wars The Old Republic? Now, I win either way here because I get some Old Republic content or I get 2 Star Wars games. That's the way it goes. So, for me, I would like it to be the KOTOR remake re-reveal and Star Wars Total War Star Wars. But the way these two things are lining up together almost points to me that it could be a Total War Star Wars The Old Republic game. This is just pure speculation on my part. There's nothing that hints towards the two being linked except just a little bit of piecing together like I'm kind of Sherlock Holmes, but the fucking shit version. And yeah, could we get basically a Total War Old Republic game? It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible to get both. Both of announcements might not even be at the Game Awards, but it definitely makes sense. Again, going back to what I mentioned before about the variety of genres across Star Wars that I would like to see, this is another moment here that I want to see some variety in genres. Total War in terms of the strategy element that comes there. You've then got your turn-based with Zero Company. You've got your action-adventure with Jedi. Your RPG with KOTOR. Now we just need some kind of more multiplayer experiences because that's one thing that we're lacking now that we no longer have support for Battlefront 2 and that Star Wars Hunters was shut down. So that's the one thing that I'm waiting on. And maybe, I guess, that leads into our final topic of today. Now, this is the one that we know the least information about, but coming from GameSpot, they spotted a job listing, which is Disney is working on a, quote, groundbreaking game experience, end quote, for Star Wars. I'm just going to read out the job description here because a lot of it is quite interesting. There's some like corporate jargon, don't get me wrong, but let's go for it. It is, quote, an ambitious and exciting new project. Working with top-class industry talent, the role is perfect for the seasoned visionary leader looking to create something epic, guiding and collaborating with a robust group of creative and production leaders focused around a wonderfully rich and cohesive product that is truly Disney. Inspires and informs our development teams to deliver the most authentic, world-class Star Wars experiences. Shape the overall visual direction, safeguard IP integrity, and foster creative collaboration across internal and external teams, ensuring all assets meet our brand and quality standards and have a deep understanding of Star Wars lore." End quote. What's also very interesting is that the job calls for someone with a lot of experience, including a minimum 7 years in gaming, film, or TV, and someone who has a broad and deep understanding of Star Wars. They should also have, quote, "extensive game development experience on top grossing, critically acclaimed AAA games on console and mobile," end quote. Now listen, that's a hell of a resume. I mean, I've played video games for more than 7 years, but I'm not sure I've delivered a AAA experience like that. So maybe I'm rolled out of the job for this one. But there's two ways I want to look at this. To me, this sounds like a multiplayer experience. In the way we're talking about collaborations, the way we're talking about external teams, the way that they want to be able to reshape and have a modern understanding of Star Wars lore to keep up to date with it all. That to me sounds like something that is aiming for the live service. Now, what I hope this is not is, and it's very, very possible, that it's the Fortnite. If you remember, Fortnite is bringing this massive collaboration with Disney that is bringing the Disney worlds to Fortnite in what is trying to create this metaverse experience. Could this be their Star Wars island? Potentially. And that is definitely not something I would rule out. In fact, I would almost say that it's likely. But we've known about this for a while. That's been in development for a while from what I understand. So this, for me, feels like it could be something new. And I hope it's something new. In terms of speculation, I mean, there is nothing else we can really gather. This is very much a mystery to me. GameSpot points something very important out in the article. They say that the frontrunner to become the next Disney CEO, Josh D'Amaro, is a big fan of video games, and he's the one who shepherded the $1.5 billion investment into Epic for the upcoming Disney Fortnite project, which is what I was mentioning there. So I'm hoping that this is a brand new Star Wars multiplayer experience. I'm not sure if I want a new MMO or a live service, almost lure shooter or kind of thing. I don't know. Or a brand new Battlefront. I'm really not sure. But I think if we're lacking one thing on the Star Wars genres right now, it is that multiplayer experience. And the way they talk about it all there, it sounds to me like something that is going to be shaped, not just one-time experience, this campaign you play through once and you're done with, but something that's going to exist over a period of time. So let's kind of see what this is. I would love a new Star Wars MMO, truth be told. I really would. I love Star Wars: The Old Republic, but I just struggle with the older feel of things. And I'm delighted that that's still going, by the way, and I think they do a great job with that. But I think I'm ready for something new now. And could it be set in the Old Republic or the High Republic or beyond into the future? Truth be told, I don't give a shit. I just want it. Is the real nature of it all. But all of this is really exciting. I mean, KOTOR being confirmed as still being in production, brilliant. KOTOR 2 being the plans as of March this year, and the Romeo and Juliet codename sounds to me like there is a roadmap there for both KOTOR and KOTOR 2. Should KOTOR be a success, we still have to wait and see. That's the one I'm a little bit like, ooh, let's see on that one. It seems all but confirmed that we're going to see something Star Wars at the Game Awards, whether it's the Total War game, whether it's just Knights of the Old Republic being re-revealed, whether it's both. One man can hope, and then you've got this exciting, groundbreaking experience. Now, that's corporate jargon, of course, but listen, the fact that they want to do more stuff with Star Wars going forward is only a positive to me, and we've been lacking, and I want to get back to that golden era during the 2000s where there was this breadth of experiences of Pod Racer, Republic Commando, Force Unleashed, Battlefront, weird Clone Wars spin-off games, the movie tie-in games, Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast. I'm missing a very, very important one that's not coming. KOTOR, for God's sake. Like, that's where I want to get back to, you know? So let's just hope that this is a step in the right direction. A while ago, I think it was Insider Gaming reported that Disney wanted a Star Wars game every single year. So let's hope we can get to that standard and not have to kind of wait for in-between years. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, let me know what news out here excites you the most out of everything. I'd love to hear from you. Do you have a favorite? And what would you like this groundbreaking experience to be if it was to be a multiplayer game or a single player game? I'd love to hear from you. Like I said, if you want to stay up to date on Star Wars games or have guides and news reviews or when it drops, consider subscribing. That's what we do here. Regardless, I hope you have a terrific day. Play games, get gains, and I'll catch you in the next one.